In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how AI has killed creativity, how my biggest competitors are AI, what's going on with my life, and why I've decided to put subtitles in my podcast. Stay tuned. I found the best English podcast ever. Here, listen and tell me what you think.
Now, let's talk about something that I think is often overlooked, the power of inner monologue.
Inner monologue? You mean like talking to yourself?
Exactly. And I know some people feel
Amazing, right? Perfect American English, amazing pronunciation, beautifully presented, no mistakes or errors whatsoever. There's only one problem, though. It's not real. Those aren't humans speaking. That is AI. Actually, I've come to find that most of my competitors, because I am not AI, I'm a human. Most of my competitors in the English podcast space are AI. And that's what I want to talk to you about in today's episode of The Jon Peng Show. You see, I started my English podcast about a month ago. And of course, as you know, podcasting is a very competitive space. So I've been doing everything in my power to do research, see what the competitors are doing, to optimize everything from the audio and, of course, the video as well, because today a podcast is not just audio, it is very much video as well. So that means, okay, optimizing the thumbnails. See what kind of keywords I should use. What should the title be? What should the description be? So as I began doing my market research, figuring out, okay, what all the competitors are doing, searching for English podcasts, I found something kind of interesting, a very familiar pattern. And that is all of the biggest English podcasts with the biggest numbers, millions of views, millions of likes and engagement, are all AI, all fake, all just two AI-generated humans talking to each other. Now, here's the peculiar thing. When I look at the comments of these videos, I notice that I don't see the word AI anywhere. This is interesting to me. This tells me three things. Number one, perhaps people literally have no idea. They don't know. And that's very common, right? You'll notice, for example, when grandma or grandpa show you a video and you say, "Grandma, that's not real, that's AI." But what's scary is that now, for me as a middle-aged man, I'm starting to watch things and say, is this real? By the way, I believe that this is one of the biggest, the worst things that's come from AI is that in today's day and age, we don't know what's real or what's fake now. Now, besides people possibly not knowing if it's AI or not, it could be the channels delete these comments or they put some sort of filter. Why? Because there's, I want to believe, still a very large amount of the population that is vehemently against AI. And if they knew, or if they let others know, well, this would again hurt the numbers and hurt the monetization, the business model of these channels. The third biggest thing, and I think this is the biggest threat, not a threat, but a changing of the times, if you will, that I'm probably not willing to accept, and that's my fault. I believe that people have grown to accept it. They possibly know it's AI. They know it's not two real humans speaking to each other. They know exactly that it's not anybody putting any work to create something original or unique. It's just AI generated slop. But they accept it. It's okay. That's what society is today. And I'm wondering how you feel when you watch something that is AI generated. You see, this is a sensitive subject for me as a creator because I'm a human and I don't use any AI in my content creation. Zero, none. I'm very proud of that, and I will get into that a little bit later. But as a content creator, there has been a change in, first of all, what people want to consume and how people are creating content these days. You'll notice that when you open social media, yes, there is a huge uptick in AI-generated content. But AI-generated content is not necessarily what you think. There's more to it than just a silly video, right? It also happens in a lot of different ways. For example, we have what we call clippers. What are clippers? Clippers are people that create channels and create content, and what they do is they take your content, for example, my podcast or my videos, and they steal it. Yes, steal it. I say steal because most of the time they never ever ask the original content creator if they could use the content. They steal this content and then they post it on their own account. But of course, they will make it their own, right? Oh, well, they will add some subtitles. They will add some fast music. They will edit it so it looks a little different. They'll add some effects. Does that make it original? You tell me. Some people would say yes. Me as a content creator, I'd say absolutely not. Now, besides these clippers, there's also reposters as well. And of course, clippers and reposters are kind of a similar thing, but you'll notice there's a lot of channels where none of their content is original at all, but maybe they just take the content, they have their tools, scour the internet for the best clips, and then they repurpose it for their own monetization, their own channels to make money. So, AI slop, in a sense, is not necessarily just AI-generated content. It's also utilizing AI tools to better steal and repurpose content. But I've noticed something. Remember I said to you, perhaps this is the norm. Perhaps this is what people are used to. You know, sometimes when I open social media, I watch a video, I say, hey, that was interesting. Usually it's a clip from a TV show, right? Oh, I maybe am interested in this TV show, or I watched this TV show before. It looks interesting. I open it. It's one of the best moments from the TV show. And then what do I find? The username is some weird generated name like best TV show clips, or not even just randomly generated words and numbers. And of course, the clip is not the original clip. It's sped up, lots of crazy music and subtitles. And then I get angry. I get angry because I don't want to watch this, but it keeps getting recommended to me, even when I try my best, because I keep getting tricked into watching it. I immediately press, I'm not interested. I don't want to watch this. I block the channel, but I keep getting tricked into it because these AI content creators, whether they are purposely doing it or they're using AI tools to generate this content, keep creating clickbait that tricks me. Am I a fool? Am I dumb? Am I naive? Am I not smart enough to know the difference? Of course I am. But it's all become clickbaity. It's all become the best thumbnail, the best tag, and I click it and I get tricked. Now, first of all, I want you to understand something. I am not against AI. Absolutely not. But what we're talking about right now is the difference between productivity and creativity. So, this reminds me a lot of a few things. When I first started creating content, it was when there were no smartphones. There was no iPhone. There was no touch screen. There was no iPad, blah, blah, blah. At that time, if I wanted to create content, I had to buy a camera. And so that was a huge learning curve. Learning about the focus, having a lens, aperture, ISO, shutter speed, blah, blah, blah. Right? Getting the right microphone. But then eventually we had smartphones come along. And then once that happened, then things became more of an even playing field. Now, instead of only people with this professional equipment, now everyone can become a content creator. Now, everybody has the ability to create something great, right? Or so I'd hope. Then, for example, came editing software. When I first began editing, man, I learned how to use Final Cut Pro, which is a Mac editing software, very expensive, a huge learning curve, right? Importing all this media, the color grading, this and that, nothing was automated. Now, editing software can totally automate it for you. Heck, you could even use AI editing if you wanted to. So now we are at a point where technology has completely eliminated the barrier to content creation. And I think that is a great thing. Here's the problem. In my opinion, we have also completely eliminated hard work. Yeah. We've completely eliminated the process of script writing, getting the perfect shot, learning the ideas, the creativity, the hook, the punchline, the scenes, the whole overall picture. Why? Because we don't need to anymore. Because what we have now is also a very large segment of people that do not want to work hard. They want to work faster and make money faster. And hey, I can't hate on that whatsoever. I completely support that. But at the same time, I think if that's a stance you want to take, we all need to be a little bit more honest here. You ever notice how when you come across an AI-generated account, you know what it is, right? Whether it's a clipping channel, whether it's a channel that steals content and reposts it, whether it's, as I said to you, an English podcast, which is just an AI-generated chat of two people talking to each other. You ever notice how it never says this is AI? It never says, oh, this was made by AI. Now, let me tell you something. As a content creator, I will tell you, when you upload videos, there is specifically an option to say this is AI generated. You know why they don't do it? Because there is, thankfully, in my opinion, I'm sorry to say, a very large amount of people that are rejecting AI. They want to support human creativity. And these creators know once they press that button that this is AI, they're going to lose a lot of views. It's going to hurt their engagement. It's going to hurt their credibility. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm being very realistic. I would do the same exact thing if I was an AI creator. Now, again, you may say, I'm being a hater. I'm hating on the people's hustle, right? Listen, I also understand there are many special circumstances. Listen to me. If you are disabled, if you, for example, don't have the ability to talk, to be on camera, if you are ill, if you are just not able to create content due to your physical or mental circumstances, I am not talking about you. Again, like I said to you before, these new technological tools have enabled everybody to enter the content creation game. I am talking about the people that are just trying to get rich quick. You may say, hey, I don't have special talent. I don't have the looks. I can't speak on camera. I'm not talented like all these content creators. I don't have the software. I don't have the budget. I don't have any money. I'm not a special person. I need to use AI to create this content. I would ask you, how do you know? How do you know you're not a talented person? Have you tried? How long have you tried? You know, I don't think I'm the best looking guy. I don't think I'm the best speaker. I'm not the smartest guy. When I began creating content, I wasn't a rich guy. In fact, let me tell you, when I first started creating content, I'd quit my job. I'd made sure I worked hard enough to save a few months worth of money. And I went all in. And you know what? The first time I saw money on social media, 8 years. It took me 8 years. 8 years of creating content, refining my game, working my job, saving money, improving my skills, my equipment, lots and lots of failure, lots and lots of years of no progress whatsoever. And finally, this year, perhaps last year, in the last 2 years, I finally feel like I'm having some sort of success. I finally feel like, okay, I'm starting to make money. This is real. This is a very viable business. I can expand. We're good to go. But it took me 8 long years. I'd say longer than that, honestly, probably 10 years, if I'm not counting some of the other experiences before that. Now, for you, if you say, I have no talent, I have to use AI, this is the only way I can do it. How do you know? How do you know? And this is where I go back to, we've eliminated hard work. We've eliminated the trial and error. We've eliminated the thought process. We've eliminated critical thinking. We've eliminated grit. We've eliminated discipline. We've eliminated just working hard, putting your head down, getting in there and giving it your all. That's where we're going now, especially when it comes to creativity. And I think it's a shame. Now, again, John, you're a hater. John Pang, you're just hating on my grind. You're hating on my, you don't use AI? Okay, let's talk about this. And let's get real serious here. Do I use AI? Again, AI, in my opinion, is an amazing thing. Productivity versus creativity. Now, how do I use AI? I will tell you exactly how I use AI. The only way I use AI is for search. Yes, for search. What does that mean? Before, when I would search for a piece of information, it would bring me on a search engine, a website. It would bring me a few pages of what I need to look at, right? I'd look at maybe 10 different websites, compare things, put into my notes, put something together. With the use of AI now, it summarizes everything for me a lot easier. And for me, this is very convenient. I don't know if you would classify Siri with the iPhone as AI, but I do know that for me personally, it helps instead of going through 30 different sources to have everything summarized for you. To me, it's the equivalent of having an electronic assistant, a digital assistant, if you will, right? Now, do I use AI in any other way? No, absolutely not. Do you know why I choose not to use AI? 2 reasons. One, I like thinking. I'm not making an insult here. I'm not insulting you. I'm not making fun of you if you use AI. What I'm trying to tell you is I like to create something, to solve a problem, to hopefully create a viral piece of content. Why? Because this exercises my brain. It keeps my brain active. It keeps the things firing off in there. Why? Because I want to keep this brain well exercised. Besides that, if I can create something from scratch by just using my brain, my creativity, if it can go viral, if it can have good numbers, this is my passion, this is my career, this is what I do for a living. There is no greater sense of satisfaction in my life. I'm very proud of that. Now, you may say, but Jon, if you used AI, well, you can make this whole thing easier, can make it better. You can save money. You can make your content even better and faster. Instead of only doing X amount of videos per month, you could do hundreds. You don't have to waste time sitting in a room, making sure the lights are good, on this expensive camera, shooting a podcast. No, you can just have it do it for you. I refuse. I won't do it. And you may say, well, I'm being foolish. Perhaps I am. But let me ask you a question. I think a majority of you know me from my account, Jon Pang English. And if you have followed me over the years, whether you're following my podcast or my main account, Jon Pang English, I thank you for your support. I really do. Without you, I can't make a living. I have no life. Thank you so much. But let me ask you a question. Talking about AI, right? What if I told you, well, actually, every script I wrote, I didn't write it. It was AI. I just used AI and said, hey, write me a funny video. Would you be able to accept that? Would you respect me for that? Be honest with me. It's okay. Because I would tell you right now, I wouldn't respect myself for that. Every viral video I've ever written, I've written it myself. This podcast right now, okay, I took the time, an hour, to write my bullet points, what I want to talk about. Because I'm proud of that. That's my ability, not my natural ability, something I have worked on for half of my life, the ability to put something together hopefully equals great content. What if I told you, actually, my videos, I just use AI to edit them. No. My videos, I edit them, and I work with my team of my business partner / producer, actor, and also my editor as well. I am very proud that for my editor, I can give that person work. I am very proud that with my editor, with my team, we can create something amazing that we didn't just generate from an AI prompt? What if I told you, hey, actually, guys and girls, I'm sorry to say, but actually, when you're watching my videos, it's not even me. No, because we're at that stage right now where technology is so good. Actually, every video you've seen of me, it's not me. It's just AI. Be honest with me right now. Would you still respect me? Would you still follow me? If you knew that all my content was just all AI crap, purely AI generated slop, not one original thought, all fake, would you still support me and follow me? If you said yes, thank you. If you said no, thank you as well. The reason why I can't say, well, I don't mess with you anymore, I don't agree with you, I don't disagree with you. The reason why I can't say, well, you suck, you're wrong, is because, again, we are very much at a point in time right now where society possibly is okay with it now. It's becoming the norm. Just like how we went from 56K internet to Wi-Fi, just like how when we went to the old style phone to now touchscreen phones, much like how now we are getting more and more AI generated content, it is slowly becoming the norm. And I can't hate on you for liking that type of content. Now, again, I have no hate against these people. Would you say I'm jealous? Maybe. Maybe a little bit. Why? Because I do know that for me, I understand the amount of time, work, and effort and money I spend to create my content. And I can guarantee you that for these AI-generated content creators, that it's a fraction, possibly not much at all compared to what I'm doing. But I respect the game. All I can do is work harder. The problem I see, though, is that platforms are, again, becoming more strict on faceless accounts, on AI-generated accounts, on accounts that just steal and repost content. When that happens, will these accounts survive? I don't know. Hard to say, right? Again, all I ask is the question. If you know what you do, if you know what you're doing is what you believe to be the right way, if you use AI to create content, to edit, to write everything, good for you. Why don't you disclose it? Why don't you put the AI tag on your content? You tell me. Not my place to say. Now, what will the future be? I don't know. Hard to say. If you know me, you know I'm an English teacher. And I remember distinctly, I remember so clearly. I remember the day last year, a company approached me and they said, hey, we do AI courses. What do you mean? Well, it's very simple. When you create a course, what do you have to do? Well, we have to write it. We have to make sure everything's right. We have to create a PowerPoint, images. We have to film it. We have to edit it. It's a very long process. Each lesson should be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, blah blah blah. And they said, oh, we can cut that workload in a quarter of that, a fraction of that. I said, what do you mean? All we need to do is just take a video of you, get your voice, and then we can just AI generate courses for you. Did a demo, went through it, and they generated hundreds of lessons. Hundreds of lessons look like me, sound like me, and we didn't have to do a thing. Perhaps this is the future. Perhaps this is, again, the elimination of hard work, but at what cost is the question I ask you. At what cost? How much of our brain power are we willing to just give away? Right? And also, for me, again, it's a question I ask again. Do you respect me if you find that's what I do? I don't know. It's hard to say. Please tell me your thoughts. I think this is a very important episode because my listeners, you come from all over the world, and you're all different ages as well. All different generations. Sometimes I forget that we have many people, many listeners, they were born with iPads in their hands, right? Never even had to open a physical book, right? It's interesting. When I was a kid, if we had a test, okay, guys and girls, this will be on the test, right? So what do? I open a book. I start looking for what the possible answer may be. I cram everything. Now, if we have to answer a question, just ask AI. It'll find the answer for you. The scary thing is, it's not always correct, but people just take its word. They forget that AI generally, when it's summarizing answers for you, is just a summary of 10 different opinions, and they just take the majority one and give that to you. Sometimes I look up stuff with AI in the apps, asking about a certain feature. They tell me this, and I say, that's blatantly wrong. What are you talking about? AI apologizes, gives me another suggestion that's wrong as well. How much are you willing to sacrifice? You tell me. You tell me what's right and what's wrong. Now, I want to say, everybody, it's a very, not a serious episode. I mean, the last episode I talked about when I had crazy diarrhea from eating hot pot. But I think it was something I need to talk about. I think it's an interesting topic. I think we're all subconsciously thinking about it. I think we're all kind of fighting it, right? And who knows, maybe I'm that old man that's fighting against the future that is inevitable, right? Now, I want to pivot here. I do want to talk to you about recently some new things, some new circumstances, new things that have been happening with us. And I want to say that for everybody here, the John Pang Show podcast is doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. There are some numbers on certain platforms I wish could be a bit better, but on the ones that do matter, they're doing awesome. The YouTube needs a little bit of work. Again, if you are watching on YouTube, thank you very much. I hope I can get those numbers up, but YouTube generally is the hardest platform because it's the top platform to find any good success on. It's very difficult there. But the other platforms are doing great. We are at a very, very large number of downloads and views and listens. And we have been featured many, many times recently on a few platforms as a top English podcast. And I want to say to everyone, remember, guys and girls, this isn't necessarily like an English it's an English podcast because I'm speaking English and because I'm an English teacher, but I know the majority of you know me because of my main account, my English speaking account, my English teaching account, but there are many of you out there, hey, you just came across my video, came across my podcast. This podcast is for everybody. It is an amazing, fantastic English listening source of material for learning, but it's also just, I hope, your favorite waste of time. All right? And again, please, whatever you do, wherever you're listening to me, please comment, like, rate, review. The comments are great. Your support matters to me. I'm not, how do I say this? I'm not doing this podcast because I need to. It's not like, well, my main account is failing. No, it's very far from that. My main account, Jon Paying English, is a very, very successful brand, and I thank you all for your support. And because of that, I've been able to expand into different things. The podcast for me, I think, is more of a long-term investment in a sense that right now I'm not making any money off and not profitable. But I believe as things happen in my life, as new people arrive in my life, I can't. If you're listening, I just winked right there. That's all I'll say. That's for a future episode. As I get older, as for example, it's not easy for me to film in a sense. The podcast, I believe, for me will be a long-term investment, another chapter in my life. Okay, I'm not giving up on my main account. No, not any way whatsoever. But I'm also very passionate about this because I do really enjoy this. And again, we're improving the audio, we're improving the video, and I hope to also have guests on as well. Heck, maybe I'll talk to AI after hating on it for so long, right? But please, when you can, show your support, like, follow. It all matters. It all helps me, okay? Now, in regards to the format of the podcast, as I told you before, I kind of want to do it this way. I've thought about this a little bit, and what I want to do is this. I want to, in the future, I want to have the podcast start with our main subject. You know, sometimes that could be multiple subjects, but generally, for example, whatever the title of the video is or the podcast itself, I want to kind of just get into that right away. I think that's, best for my audience. From there, I'll kind of talk to you about what's been new recently. And then also at the very end, I do want to respond to comments. I do want to, engage with you in a bit. And what I want to talk about right now is subtitles. So depending on where you're watching my podcast, there will most likely be subtitles. Okay. On YouTube, there are no subtitles because YouTube has actually a quite a robust subtitle feature. But not all platforms do, particularly in China, where a large amount of my audience is. And so I realized something. When I first began doing my podcast, I did not put subtitles. Why? Because honestly, to be honest with you, if you're learning a language, subtitles are not always a good thing. In fact, I would say in some cases they are more harmful than they are helpful because in the real world, when you're talking to a native speaker of whatever language, there's no subtitles. And it comes at you fast, right? They might have an accent. They might not talk as clearly as I do. It can come fast. Right? A big reason why people say, well, Jon, you talk too slow. Jon, I understand everything you're saying. Why can't I understand people in the real world? Because, again, you're most likely listening or watching this podcast in the comfort of your home in a comfortable situation. You're not worried about anything. You're not nervous about anything. You're just looking at a screen right now. And I love you for that. Thank you very much. But in the real world, there are no subtitles. So originally I thought, okay, I'm going to put out these videos and I want to do it for the benefit of my learners, my students, my listeners. Big problem, though, is that I realize that there are far more people that need subtitles versus those that don't. And once I understood that and related to that, I decided it was best to put subtitles. A lot of people in my comments are saying, why do you put subtitles? Why are you doing that? That's number one. I was actually watching a show the other day. It was a Japanese show. And it had English subtitles. But then I realized, wait a minute, I'm actually really enjoying this Japanese show. I don't speak Japanese. I only speak English and Chinese, right? But if there were no subtitles, I wouldn't like it. Why? Because I literally would not be able to like it because I wouldn't understand anything at all, right? So you have to understand, as a content creator, for me, in order for this show to become more popular, to reach more people, I have to put subtitles. Not putting subtitles would be incredibly detrimental to the show's success. That's number one. Number two, for those that say, why do you put subtitles? I like to watch without having that crutch. Well, then just listen instead. Just listen. Listen to the podcast. You don't need to watch my face for an hour, but if you like looking at this face for an hour, thank you very much. Okay? And if you say, well, no, I want to watch you, well, then just cover it with a piece of paper, bro. Calm down. It's not that big a deal. Bunch of babies. Yes, you're being a baby, okay? And you need to be told you're being a baby because all my comments, I want to, why you put subtitles? It hurts my eyes. I can't take it. I want to learn. Stop it. Just chill out and stop being selfish, okay? Some people say, well, can you post a version with subtitles and a version without subtitles? No. No, I can't. No, absolutely no, I can't. One, because if you do that on social media, generally what happens, the system will mark it as a repost, and that means that it's just reposted content, okay? The second thing is, even if you don't get that repost marking, that tag, generally that would mean that because it is the same exact thing, the views would suffer. So why would I, as a content creator, do that? Why would I purposely post two same videos and split the views, right? This would not be a smart thing for me to do. And you may say, what aren't you a teacher? Don't you care about me learning? Of course I do. Absolutely. But you have to understand what I'm saying. I do care about you learning. So just cover with a piece of paper. What's the big deal? Right? You covering with a piece of paper or just listening like was intended, the show was intended to be listened to because it's the podcast, is far easier and far more of a solution as opposed to me posting the video twice. Somebody said, "Hey, well, can you put all the English words instead in the comments?" Dude, how many words do you think are in this script? It's impossible. First of all, the comments have a limit. You can't just put like 100, 50,000, thousands of words in the comments. It will get limited because you can, for example, only put like 500 words or have to split it up. It would be a mess. It would be an absolute mess. Why can't you put it in the description? Because not all descriptions allow that as well. And to be honest with you, my friends, many of the platforms themselves, they provide auto transcripts thanks to AI. After I just, pooped on AI for this episode. But again, productivity versus creativity. A lot of these platforms, they offer transcripts. Just use that if you really want it, all right? Some people said, can you do this? Can you put the subtitles above your head and then just make them backwards? No, absolutely not. Again, you're not thinking about this show from a professional point of view. Why would I do that? Why would I have backwards subtitles at the top of my head? You have to think about it from my point of view. You have to think about it from the point of view of, I am trying to make this show be successful. The more views this show can get, the more exposure this show can get, the more I potentially, I'm sorry to say it, can possibly make some profit from the show. Because as of right now, I'm not making any money off this show. It's all passion. And even if I did make money off of it, just like my main account's content, I would also be passionate about it as well. And I would give you my 100%, my 500%, my 1,000%. But we all have to put food on the table. So for me, I need to think about what is the best way from a business standpoint as well, from a enjoyment standpoint as well for the majority of my audience. Again, there are times, thousands, a billion more people that need subtitles versus those that don't, okay? So to those that are commenting, somebody said, he said, bro, you lied to me. You put subtitles. Why? Just calm down. It's not a big deal. And we need to help the other people, help them get to your level as well, because you are amazing and excellent. And honestly, as I said to you before, listen, okay? Put a piece of paper on the subtitles, or just, I don't know, zoom the video in. Can't you zoom in? Can't you make the video bigger? There's so many solutions, but y'all are just being lazy, okay? Deal with it. I love you. Mwah, okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you got to this point, please let me know what would you like to hear about in the next episode. Please also tell me, what are your thoughts on what I talked about today? How do you feel about AI? How do you feel about AI-generated content? How do you feel about AI slop? How would you feel about me using AI if I did? I never do. Never do. I am 100% natural, just like this body, just like this hair, unfortunately, okay? And again, support me, like, follow, leave a comment. Liking, leaving a comment, sharing, these are the biggest things for me. Leave a comment, because when you leave a comment, oftentimes as well, I will save the great comments, the questions, and I will leave that for the end of our show. I want the show to be more engaging, and I want to engage with you, all right? Thank you for support, everybody, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.